Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the CCL 2021 kickoff tournament. My name is McCormick. Alongside me is Seymour, and we are here for the quarterfinals to start things off on date number 2 for the top 8. Seymour, it's finally time for the CCL season. I know I'm excited. How about you, buddy?
I'm through the roof. Like, this CCL season is gonna be to the moon, man. Like, we got Illini Orange and ASU Maroon bringing it in the quarterfinals. I mean, they've made it this far. I mean, we talked about it. We talked about it before game that both of these teams are pretty much 50% at least brand new players, and to make it already this far just gives me hype to see what these new bloods can do in the season.
Absolutely. And one of the things we got to talk about inside of this CCL 2021 kickoff tournament is the key event features. Obviously, 112 teams faced off inside of a single elimination bracket in order to go ahead and reign supreme as the first kind of tournament of the year. It not only helps us go ahead and showcase potential early playoff contenders, but it also gives us an opportunity to look out for some big names that we're going to be seeing throughout the 2021 season.
And it's going to be quite the journey seeing that in itself. You know, we gone from those best of 3s now in the bracket to best of 5s, and this is where we finally get to see that 4v4 kind of energy, the synergy from them start to come forth in the long runs of these, you know, in those late game 4s, in those late game 5s, see what these teams can come through, because as you all know, is Cold War is a little bit different from Modern Warfare, being in that 4v4 sense rather than 5v5. So a lot of these teams really have to kind of break down back to their bare bones self and regain that synergy as 4 players instead of that 5th person. So that's another thing that I'm going to be looking at in the CCL season, is how these schools deal with that. And it might get interesting in the long run. We might see some upsets come from these schools that might not have shown up last year.
Yeah, well, also with the expansive new amount of teams inside of the CCL season as well, there's a lot of potential for brand new names, brand new teams, brand new schools to make themselves newfound inside of this season. And I can't wait to see some of those potential teams and potential players who just come out of nowhere this year that weren't here last year to potentially not even just take it all, but really reign supreme over the entirety of the competition throughout the entire year. However, folks, it starts all today with the quarterfinals kicking things off here on the Bravo stream with ASU Maroon going up against Illini Orange. And folks, if you don't know anything about these two schools, ASU is Arizona State University. It's the Maroon version of their roster. That roster is going to consist of Astrozi, Coders, Effectini, and Itachichi.
And then if you look at Illini, I mean, I've seen them make it to top 8 in the playoffs for the CCL last year, but they only have one returning player, and that's going to be Crit. Alongside them, some brand new faces, Ghosty, Axie, and Shield. So I'm seeing what they can bring into it behind that veteran player Crit, see what they have to offer. We've talked a lot about the CCL and the bracket, so let's talk about what we have right now, McCormick. We're starting off on Garrison. That's going to be our hard point to kind of break into these two teams, where we're then going to see Miami back to Garrison for control, raid, and then raid to finish off with that hard point and search at the end there. So let's talk a little bit of Garrison. What do you want to see from these two teams?
Well, first and foremost, we got to talk about the rotations throughout this map. We were talking before a little bit the broadcast about how those rotations around the map are going to be able to be strung together by these different rosters. So, for example, starting out with P1, you have it was moved a little bit earlier in the season to make it more viable for the team spawning on the P2 side of things, to where it wasn't just a P3 spawns haven. But now, a lot of the times, you're going to see rotations from P1 to P2 be very, very easy as long as you can hold down that back tank spawn side. Same thing with rotations from P2 to P3 if you are spawning over towards that tank side, but more importantly, P3 to P4 and then P4 to P5. You can string all 3 of those hard points together extremely easily, especially if your team is able to get out, control that caution side of things over towards P1, wrap all the way through bricks and get top green control, because that's going to be how you hold down point 4, which could be considered by some one of the biggest money hills on this map. But as we've kind of come to see on this map of Garrison, a lot of these hills, a lot of these points are complete money hills for a lot of these teams. It just all depends on where you're going to hold it from and where your spawns are eventually going to be landing.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've waited this long. I mean, we gave you a little bit of a tease at the start here, but now we're hopping into Garrison for this matchup. The Bravo stream starts now. Illini Orange, ASU. This is going to be insane, McCormick. I want to see who kind of starts off with that contention, you know, breaking on that point 1 to point 2 spawns, because I think that point 2 is going to be everything for that early game right now. I mean, yeah, you have that string from point 3 to point 4, but I want to see that point 2 get locked down here by who is it? Illini with the better spawns right away.
Well, as we see off the rip here, it's going to be 3-1 for Itachi, the SMG player, looking to go ahead and get aggressive up and towards this little whites area. XC's going to be able to find one, looks to the back for Coders, but through the window, Affectini comes in and finds this trade, cleans it up, and now an opportunity for them to start pushing back towards P1. However, thus far, it has been the side of ASU Maroon, who have done a great job of getting a lot of time here in P1, which is normally a contest point for both of these two rosters. However, it's going to be a huge gunfight between players 2 and 6 here for the backside spawns, but as I say that, XC spawns up back tank with his teammate and Ghosty. They'll have those P2 spawns. It's going to be hard for the side of Illini Orange to break through and get over towards this Satellite Hill spawn side for the sheer fact that breaking out of green is one of the most impossible tasks to have inside of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
That's definitely one way to put it. Mid-fight on point 1. You saw that split spawn for Illini really putting them behind bars right now, going to point 2. Look at the lockdown from green like you're talking about. XC with a nice double to lock down this spawn, even more lock down this site. They have a perfect hold right here. This is almost going to be impossible for Illini to break into. By the time it hits 20, I just expect Illini to go for that point 3 right now, as you just see blue reigning true in that kill feed, McCornmeal. Illini Orange having a slow start to Garrison, but not really unexpected from a team who gives up spawns for point 2 right away. But Garrison, we saw it at the Boomer Bowl a little bit earlier that this is a map that could turn on its head mid-game easily for Illini. They just need that time.
Very much. And folks, if you are watching at home, I do want to apologize real quick. The names are switched around real quick, so it's going to be a little bit of maybe a confusing factor here at the very beginning of the game, but as this continues to progress forward, I just want you to know that ASU Maroon is going to be on the right, Illini Orange will be on that left side in the blue. A bit confusing with the colors and switched up here thus far inside of the roster, but I believe we are going to be getting those flipped around here in just a couple of seconds. But as the rotations over towards P3 come through, it's going to be 3 down in the chat, and I'll make it 4 for the side of Illini Orange, and that is going to allow things to be pushed up all the way through the back, but still, players number 1 and 3 holding the back spawns down, and that is going to allow them to have tons of P3 control. However, with just about 35 seconds, I was about to say Ghosty. There's a man lying on the ground there. However, he's able to find not 1, not 2, but oh my goodness, the hill time comes through as well. 25 seconds left. Scrap time for them going to be held down. Now the rotations for the side of ASU Maroon.
And look at Illini, you know, that point 2 to point 3 is difficult, but they did it like it was absolutely nothing. Now the Maroons, they're falling apart right now. You have to look at them to grab time now off of this point number 4, or else they're definitely going to be in a detrimental spot for the rest of this game. Now you're looking for the breakthrough from Ghosty to try to switch up spawns for the next rotations. And this is a really good opportunity for Illini to take advantage of that long game here, McCornmeal. If they do grab spawns over back tank, when you go from point 5 back to point number 1, Illini will have an opportunity to run away even farther. Now you have 43 seconds here back on point number 4. ASU Maroon are going to be in control right away. If they grab this 30 seconds, they're going to be right back in this game.
Oh, Affectini had some really bad timing right there. Look towards that bottom tank, jump up, but wasn't able to find the player pushing through. However, Ghosty was on a 6 streak a little bit earlier before he died. Does not go unnoticed in the eyes of the casters. And now as they start to push forward a little bit further, it is going to be ASU Maroon with an opportunity to potentially get a little bit more time here. But as the break comes through, Illini Orange continue to mount their lead a little bit further each and every hill. And as they have the rotations all the way over towards the next point in P5 before the rotation back over towards P1, they're sitting pretty, looking good, and they've been beaming thus far.
And this is Illini's game right now. XC just watching that front line, spots the toes of Itachi. Next up's going to be Astrozy, who's trying to get past the lines for ASU Maroon. And you actually see in the back spawns there, number 7, he's going to get that tank spawn. I don't even know how ASU Maroon got back there, but it's picked up from Crit. They follow up with these kills. They're locking down point 5 right now with 43 seconds. They're just barely pushing through that front line.
Another 4 streak turned it into a 5 before he eventually falls there. Now pushing through the arches and brick side. It is going to be the players from the side of Illini Orange, but they won't be able to make it stick just yet. However, the kills from the front are going to be in their favor. And is this a more favorable side as we go ahead and rotate over towards P1? Obviously, you have a lot more head glitches and a lot more power positions if you are playing over towards the P3 spawn for those P1 rotational holds. So now it's in the question in the back of your mind saying, okay, if I am the side of Illini Orange, do I want to maintain those spawns over towards P3, or do I want to push through the spawns, get ready for P2 as early as humanly possible to where we can get green control as well as bridge control as we get ready to get back towards P1? It's going to be a question that remains up in the air. Seymour, what would you be doing in this situation?
Well, if I see shields here, you know, there's definitely some concern about top green. So doing the right thing and going floating tank here to see if you can catch a few players trying to get a little bit too aggressive. The contention is still going to be strong back on point 1, but the rotations are now through. And they are going to be in the hands of Illini right away. And the spawns for this point number 1, Crit, is going to have that power angle that I saw Formal take advantage of so often in the CDL here. If he can pick up and hold off on this front attack, Illini might be good for the start of this game again. But I do say that in the midst of it, you did see ASU break through point 1, has a majority of this time now, and they're forcing spawns back for Illini Orange.
It was interesting there because it was actually a split spawn for Illini Orange, to where you had players number 2 and 3 back over towards tank P2 rotational spawn side, and you also had players number 1 and 4 spawn across the map completely. So it was about then making a pinch play on P1, being able to suffocate that point, get a little bit of scrap time, about 10 seconds of time, and now you have one player already on the rotation. It's going to be Crit, the player former to this roster last season. However, he won't be able to pick up those initial kills, all but one, and now it's going to be Ghosty's turn for an opportunity to potentially find a player in towards the point. Stop shooting, didn't know he hadn't found that kill just yet, but they've got control, they've got the time, and now a couple of little peek angles. Ghosty's going to be able to catch Effectini off guard, and that is exactly what you want to see out of a 74U player. Those SMG players getting in those rat spots, making sure you can hold down the point, and now it's going to be an extremely, extremely difficult bricks push through the bridge and through that middle map for the side of ASU Maroon as they'll try to break into these spawns, but with 25 seconds left, you've got to be thinking about rotations.
And I know it's syllabus day, but Ghosty's already doing his homework, it looks like, with a nice little peek there to hold this. Almost impenetrable last time in the rotations, if we do take a little bit of a glimpse back at the start of this game. So really repeating what they did last time, taking a big lead after point 2 is Illini Orange. You're rotating back over. You see Astrozy with an important one-on-one. He's going to win it out onto Exy. That is going to lock down point 3 for the side of ASU Maroon. This is a good string for them to bring themselves right back into this if they can gain all the time on this hard point. See Effectini on that front line, finds one player sneaking past him. Is going to get right in the back line. Shields actually takes it first, so good opportunity to get us a pinch on this site for Illini.
Effectini was pushed up the map, and that gave them great positioning, but the most important player on that push was Coders, who played over towards that right side garage, and you continue to see him do the exact same thing. What that does is that allows him to protect the back spawns for his team as they continue to come off the respawn block every time they potentially get a wave kill down, because if you play a little bit too far over towards that P3 side, the other team will actually spawn behind you and then create themselves the opportunity, and that's exactly what you'll see now as they continue to spawn across the map. This time, though, it's going to be Illini Orange who get the backside spawns. They get the scrap time. However, it's going to be a tough battle getting through the front line of defense here from the side of ASU Maroon. However, it doesn't look like it'll be too difficult of a task because they have been shooting straight beaming all game long and basically just having their way with the side of ASU Maroon, as now they're going to be able to break. Oh no, Ghosty!
Whoa,
you can't get turned on by Itachi like that. Come on now.
Yeah, I know this guy's got the visual prowess, but I didn't know it was that good here. We're already seeing some nice turn and burns in the CCL. That's what I like to see. Astrozy on the point. It's going to be contested. He's got that crate interrupted by Shields. So 2 picks from Illini in the kill feed. Make it 3 as they are starting to shut down this team. Only 20 seconds left to take this. They can win it off of this point. Now Ghosty's slaying out as well. They have a perfect split on this for Illini to lock down every single route that you can think of. You're down to 10 seconds. You clear them off the site, luckily. And unless Illini hops back on this, we might be seeing another hard point, McCorn.
It's at the point of the game to where it's going to be a little bit too late. Obviously, you still got 10 seconds of time here. Player number 7, the last one to push up the map. Unless Itachi gets a 3-piece here, which won't be able to happen. It's going to be all said and done. Illini Orange take a decisive and very, very infectious game number 1. 250 to 142 over the side of ASU Maroon. They go ahead and find themselves up 1-0 in the series. And folks, remember, these are now the best of 5 matches. We had the best of 3s earlier inside of this bracket, but once we get to the quarterfinals into day 2 of this kickoff syllabus day tournament, that is when we are going to start seeing these best of 5s come out. You see the best play of the game there from Shields once again, but really the player that we got to talk about the most from game number 1, that was Ghosty, who really seemingly did it all for the side of Illini Orange.
I have to say, Illini were doing the right things at the right time. Their communication looked on point, and especially what was kind of like sticking in my head is that last point 4 or the last point 3 that we saw. I mean, ASU, they had that on lock. And that kill from Exy back over on floating tank just gave them the right split push to pinch them from behind and the front at the exact same time. Communication's on point right now for Illini, and that might tailor over to the search here, McCormiel. If your communication's that good, heading into Miami Search and Destroy, we might be seeing some hot strats from Illini.
Yeah, and we were talking about this once again before the break as well, before we actually came on the broadcast. It's the fact of how the GAs are going to actually impact the search and destroy on a map like Miami. For example, obviously when you play Garrison, taking away the snipers on that map is extremely influential to being able to win maybe a more decisive offensive or defensive round, and especially once you remove those smokes, it really just comes down to winning those first one-on-one gunfights and getting that first blood, or maybe those first 2 picks in the round to give your team a 4 versus 2 situation. Again, talking from 5v5 to 4v4, this game plays completely different. So a lot of these teams in the CCL that might have been great last year in search and destroy in the 5v5 scene, although it's not going to be too big of a transition early on to go from 5v5 to 4v4, it still could set back a lot of rosters to where they're not going to be able to play the same search and destroy at the same caliber that we saw from them last season as well. So Illini Orange, although they did place T8 in playoffs last year with Crit as part of their roster, it's going to be interesting to see how they come out and play the search and destroy, especially after a very dominant game number 1, where we see them take almost, actually by over 100 points over the side of ASU Maroon.
Now, talk about Miami as a very strong sniper map. If these GAs weren't in it, I want to see what they can do, what the defenders can do on that A site with the assault rifle if they're running, because you don't have any smokes really for the attackers to put down on that A push if it is, and you might be looking at some raw gunfights at range over on the long side of the map. There, it might force some heavy AR plays, maybe 4 ARs on the attackers to take that fight, because. Well, I mean, with the GAs coming in here, usually the strat would be, 1 sniper rifle on A, 3 play on the B site to lock down garage and bar. So if they're still running 1 AR and 1 player over on the A side, and you put those 4 players on attack running the ARs to contest them, it might be a free bomb plant and a free post plant position, really favoring these attackers if they can take advantage of it. So I'm really curious to see what these attacks are going to look like with the GAs in set. That is, if they're following the GAs, and if that is going to come into fruition, if that's what it's going to see, we might be seeing a lot of successful attacking rounds here.
And folks, if you're wondering what we mean by GAs, well, that is a gentleman's agreement. So basically what ends up happening throughout the course of a year that we've seen more and more over the last few Call of Duty titles to come out is that gentleman's agreements have been more and more and more proficient every single year. Usually what would end up happening is, we would get our rule set and things would slowly and surely start to get more and more, kicked out of the meta or thrown out in the way of banning it from the game. But what a GA allows is 2 teams can then agree in a gentleman's agreement to go ahead and use either specific weapons or not use specific weapons, specific tacticals, lethals, trophies, whatever it may be on the map in order to provide a more fair and balanced playing field for everybody involved in the party. So for example, right now we see the AK-47 has been banned out in the way of GAs for the sheer fact that that gun is just so good. It's the same way with the snipers and the smokes as well, because smokes are a little bit broken right now, being able to one-way your opponents with your smoke grenades, as well as the snipers having no flinch when they get shot from another player at longer range, which is why snipers are so effective inside of this game. But however, we are now here inside of the S&D. It's time to go. It's time to play. We're going to look to Effectini to see if he can affect the map in ways of the AR, as maybe an SMG as well.
With Tachichi, 2 on the opposite side of this door. I haven't seen a sniper, so maybe that handshake did come into effect. Effectini does get the 1 player on the staircase, and Tachichi jumps right over the other, and they swap positions now. Advantage to the attackers here. They have the bomb planted on B. XZ gets spotted out after finding 1 and 2 players go down on each side, making it an even 2-on-2 for this retake. Itachichi's going to be playing, and Bar gets beamed by Crit. Holy, this guy's on fire. And he is going to be taking that advantage back onto the van to try to spot out Coders. Coders with 1. A 1-on-1. AR versus AR. He just has to peek this. He literally just has to play a game of peekaboo here, Corin. There's nothing more to it. 14 seconds, as you all know, 7.5 to successfully hit that defuse. Swings wide, he's gonna win the gunfight. Coders puts the attackers down for 1.
1v2 to kick things off here in the Miami Search and Destroy, and it comes by the way of that Krig in the AR fashion. Shots over the top on 1 again. It was the game of peekaboo over the top that found Crit in his demise. I'd love to play to sneak over towards that right side, hop up a little bit, maybe catch the player off guard, because in that situation, Crit's thinking, okay, that player's going to still slow peek back on that head glitch. No, he takes the one-on-one gunfight up close and personal, even with the Krig in hand, and that allows him to go up 1-0 early on. So 3-0 to start things off here on a 3 streak in the Search and Destroy, allowing his team to really have the best way of flow on the map thus far. However, it's going to have to switch over towards the defensive side of things now, as the side of ASU Maroon will now have the chance to defend this B bomb site, as we really haven't seen anything over towards A yet.
Effectini, he broke through on the attack. Now let's see if he can hold the front line on defense. Oh, I don't know if he spotted that rifle, but he might have seen Exy just peeking. He definitely knows that that player is there. Now Itachichi hits the flank, finds one on the shield. It's going to be peeked by Ghosty, who's been on fire. So I don't expect him to lose that gunfight, but Effectini's up next. He puts them back at the advantage in favor of ASU Maroon. And now Exy. Let's see if he can even this up. It looks like he's going to have some trouble. Effectini's going for a chase. Hunts him down. Still alive. Swaps to his secondary, but he can't finish the kill corn.
That was an ego chop if I've ever seen one, and now in a 1 versus 3, Exy is going to have to go ahead and find himself at a tall order and a tall task. One down over by the bomb. He's going to be able to pick up Coders. That's one to start things off, and the last 2 players are extremely spread out, but Effectini up towards the top. It won't matter. He'll be able to find the kill. He was laying down, playing a little rat spot once again, as we like to call it here. And as he came up the staircase, Exy stood no chance to the 74U. 4, 5, 6 shots. Doesn't matter. It can kill in 3. It can kill in 7. It doesn't matter, though. He'll find the kill. He'll find the round. It puts him up 2-0 here in the search and destroy.
That's what I like to see from Effectini, following up on Itachichi's really aggressive flank. You know, Ghosty might have found that trade, but the fact that Effectini could just jump on balcony, find that kill, and get back into bar without taking any damage, it really put Exy in a tough position holding on to that bomb. And Exy honestly shouldn't have been alive after that hunt, so he was gifted an opportunity, shut down by the rat position. Effectini now 3-1. Really here, payback from Exy. Swings wide for one. Ghosty with the help. They're absolutely flooding through boats. Now you're down to Astrozy. He's good for 1. But doesn't know that that player got out to his right. Now you're going to be trading some shots back and forth. Doesn't expect to jump round. And that's the first round on for Illini. 2-1 favoring ASU, though.
I can't, you know, put him in the wrong there. I can't fault him for making that play to look up towards that top balcony, because if the player is trying to play extremely sneaky and get around back and forth, just sliding back and around, it looks like he's trying to buy himself time. So that also could be a player that then is in top piano, making that jump over the railing to try and jump down here. So again, I don't fault Astrozy for looking up top there. However, Ghosty just makes the great play. Crit was across the map, and I'd like to see Crit maybe rotate over from A a little bit sooner as well, because if you have a player that's way across the map, again, it doesn't allow your team to find the trades if somehow, some way, Ghosty does lose that one-on-one gunfight there against Astrozy. But as we can see right now, 2 SMGs for the side of Illini Orange. Illini. I don't know how you guys would want me to say that. Chad, tell me how you want me to say Illini, because I've heard Illini, I've heard Illini, I've heard Illinois University. I mean, it just depends on what you guys prefer, because I am here to make you just so happy.
Now we're here to perform the entertainment for your sakes. Crit, where Coders was last time, spots the elbow, gonna take some shots, give away the position. In the midst of it, Itachichi did get found out a little bit earlier. Coders with an interesting rotation, now down 2 for ASU Maroon. Astrozy's positioning now spotted by Exy and Co. They're gonna get the bomb planted at a 4v2 to set up these post-plant positions. Effectini split and fought from Crit, found from Crit. All up to Astrozy now. As you said, it was a tall glass of milk for Exy last time. This is definitely a mountain. Finds the first onto Crit, makes it interesting. Now, they do know where he is. Oh, almost rips that player off the bomb. But if you take a look at the minimap, you take a look at the spread right now from ASU. This is definitely tough to at its end. 2-2. Illini bring it back.
Well, that's what's, if you're an Illini fan, that is exactly what you love to see right there. And shout out to chat for telling me how to pronounce it the right way. Love you. Appreciate you. But again, great round there. They get that post-plant push perfectly. Crit dies in the back, and usually in a 1 versus 4, it's that second player to die that really screws the entirety of the setup, or entirety of whatever you might be going for. But in S&D, folks, back in 5v5, 1v4s, 1v5s were essentially non-existent, but now that we're back in 1v4 Call of Duty or 4v4 Call of Duty, they are going to be plentiful, at least I hope, throughout the entirety of the year. However, it is going to be an offensive push now here for the side of ASU Maroon. They won 2 in a row, now have lost 2 in a row. They are playing a bit passive here on the offensive side, but that's because player number 2 in Coders is by himself as the rest of his team now makes an A push all the way around on that beach side. So as they continue to push up middle map, player number 8 in Crit's going to have a huge 1-on-3 gunfight to win here. If he can just at least win one, it's going to be huge, but Astrozi now knows his location. They know that he's there. Coders is able to find one all the way over towards B. Make it 2, as now the flank players have gotten caught down. Itachi Chi's able to find one in middle map, and now it's a 1 versus 4 for Ghosty.
Illini went for the full flank through the attacker spawn, and Coders with the right position, the right timing, spots out both of them to shut it down now. You do have the bomb down at A. 29 seconds. Ghosty's all up. This should be a 3rd round for ASU. I mean, that was the biggest thing you could ask for from Coders to come out with. And now, with Effectini going down, really doesn't mean anything. Just some glory kills for Ghosty at this moment, and he's just trying to run around and cause a little bit of havoc.
You know, it's one of those situations, too, to where, like, all right, you know, you're staying alive. Are you playing for potential streaks? Sure. I'm not sure if streaks are allowed in the current CCL rule set or if it's, again, one of those GAs that we were talking about earlier on. However, when you're in a 1 versus 4 situation like that, either A, just jump off the map and go out of bounds and end the round quickly, or at least try to play for the 1 versus 4. It was a very slow play from Ghosty to try and you know, manage that situation over towards A. And as impossible as it may seem, you know, you're still trying to fight for all your guts and glory here. So, again, in the 1v3, yeah, you get that, or sorry, the 1v4, you get that first gunfight, sure, but you've got to go and get to that A side a lot faster, because if you're just going to play back every single time, you know, that doesn't show good morale for your team. But I get it's early, it's a kickoff tournament, what do I know, I'm just a caster, but again, it's one of those things where it's like, you just show that grit, show that tenacity, get out there.
Well, I got to give some props to ASU, though, after a sizable win for Illini in that hard point, bringing it back and regaining their mental for this search and destroy at an advantage of 1. But this kill from Ghosty onto Tachichi might be a good start to this. If Effectini gets spotted out, he might be collapsed on. Ghosty was there for the follow-up, but Crit still finishes his job. Now you do have a 2-player advantage in favor of Illini. Ghosty doesn't check his corner, just misses out on the player he's shoulder to shoulder with, follows up after Coders takes out Exy. It's a 3 or a 2-on-1. Ghosty gonna put down the bomb. You look at that player number 3, Astrozi, all the way from the A side, has to rotate. This isn't looking good for ASU. You might be seeing a tie game here.
Shields over towards that left side. Ghosty playing the garage with his teammate. They've got 2 back over towards garage to watch this B bomb. So great to play together. Looking for potential trades here. Astrozi's going to come around the corner. Not going to be able to see Ghosty laying down. Gets a shot. Turns onto him, but won't be able to find the eventual kill. 3 versus 3. You called it perfectly, Seymour. We're tied up here on the Miami Search and Destroy. And this is much closer than we saw in the initial hardpoint, folks. If you're just now joining us, map number 1 went to Illini Orange, 250 to 148, over a 100-point win for them. It was dominant the entire way through. It looked a little bit closer than it should have at the very beginning of that game, where they only had about a 20-point lead about the halfway point through it, and then all of a sudden it was 3 points in a row where they were just able to bind together so much time. They got the lion's share every single point, almost held down a full 60 over towards P3, and it just made it so much better for themselves.
Very electric from Illini in game number 1. Now evened at the core for game 2. Coders gonna get rushed up. Illini once again getting aggressive through garage and finding that kill onto Coders. A lot better than what happened last time they were on defense when they hit that flank. Do you see Effectini there?
Yeah.
I was hoping I wasn't the only one that's seen it, but anyways, where they failed last round on their defense, they're definitely to the moon on this one with 2-player advantage. Illini looking on the brink of their 4th. Astrozi and Itachi and Effectini to change this up.
The only map with a moon inside of her CCL rule set.
Yeah.
Exy looks up top with the 74U. Astrozi, Effectini, the last 2 alive in a 2 versus 3. They've got to play this together, and so far they've done just that. They're going to be playing over towards middle map, though. Ghosty's been spotted out, so that's going to give the information to the rest of his teammates to say, Exy, Shields, all right, now it's time for you guys to go out on the offensive here, potentially go ahead and find a couple of kills. However, from the back, it is going to be Exy who finds one, so Effectini will go ahead and get the bomb down. Now a rotation back over towards the left side here to maybe play through middle map. Does not have an AR in his hands, but we know fair and well how good the 74U can be at range, so it's not much of a task. It's just about finding these last 2 kills.
And, you know, 1v2 definitely isn't out of the books here for ASU. As I called for a possible 4-3 for Illini, suddenly with the bomb down, Effectini mid-map positioning. You can see it too now. Ghosty spots out this player. They're going to set up for the pinch. Ghosty doesn't even need it. He's going to take him down in a line. I secure the 4th round for them, taking the swing round of the half. They have plenty of time for this defuse. So when it comes out here, I mean, we're talking about those early games from Illini on this defense with that aggressive play through Garage, where last round they were on defense. They hit all the way through Docs, and Coders spotted them out. This time around, that one-on-one was caught early, and it favored Illini in the midst of it. So coming out from that, just Illini winning their trades, winning their gunfights, and coming out in the later end of this game with very aggressive plays is what I want to see. It almost mirrors what happened on that Garrison, where they kind of turned it on in the later ends of it, and they just started winning all their gunfights. Almost mimicked here.
Offensive push over towards B. Set up once again. One player going top balcony, and that's player number 5 in Shields, looking for a potential kill either over towards A or through a fast flanker through middle map to try and get Piano control. However, the defensive side will get up and towards top Piano extremely quickly, and that is going to allow them to relatively have more control of this site. However, they don't really have a lot of control over towards the garage side of things, so that will be for the side of Illini Orange. One thing I do want to point out here, 1 in 6 here from Shields. Hopefully he can turn it up here a little bit towards the end, but his teammates are being able to go ahead, pick up the slack, and they are up 4-3 here. So not something that's too particularly standoutish, but as we do have a little bit of a push here over towards the Piano side, it is going to be Itachi finding one, jumps over the staircase. Effectini's there for the trade, so now a 2 versus 3, now potentially a 2 versus 2. But he's not able to find those kills, not able to find those shots directly, so now 3 versus 2, 4-3 in the round set, 25 seconds left in the round.
Without the bomb down, it might be tough, but almost a nail in the coffin there. Shields going down late. Around for ASU. Maroon, 4-4 now. You called out Shields here. I was about to say something about Itachi. Almost mirrored from the two of them. He turns up in the start of that round, gets a 1-1 trade, and the follow-up follows in suit for him. Big plays for the players kind of falling behind in this game if you are ASU Maroon. As it's literally 3 players on the team showing up and 1 straggler on either side. And now you look at that 1 straggler to start finding their rhythm, finding their tempo. It just could give you that edge over the other player. Tachichi being that edge for that last round. Now 3 and 7. You do see the attackers. They're setting up with a split across the map. 1 lurking, number 4. Has to watch out for the 7th player. 2 players gathered around the B site. Ghosty, some good timing. Itachi, shot in the back. Advantage once again on this defense to Illini early.
Last time we saw an offensive side from ASU Maroon, it was a 1 versus 2 from Astrozy, who was not able to clutch up in the end of things. An opportunity now for Crit and the rest of this Illini Orange roster to find themselves not only at match point, but put themselves at series point with a search and destroy win. However, with the way this has gone so far, Seymour, I think that we could be potentially looking at an illustrious round 11. I don't want to jinx anything too early here, but again, these offensive pushes have not either of these two teams. It's been strict and staunch defense that has really put everything in the nail in the coffin. Effectini will be spotted out, but Shields gets tagged up a bit as well. He'll have to back off to the rest of his teammates. And now if you look at player number 7 all the way across the map, they know that player number 7 was on the beach, and player number 3 will be looking for it. However, will they be able to find the good timing, or will it be a player number 7 who can cut down player number 3 from the back, and that's going to be Ghosty who picks up 1. Now Effectini is pushed down, but Shields with the Semtex takes him down. Coder's now left alive in the 1 versus 3. He can't find the shots, can't find the round win. 5-4, match point here for the side of Illini Orange. A great defensive hold, a great defensive round, and exactly their strong suit inside of this Miami Search and Destroy has been their go-to every single round, and that's why they're at the advantage right now.
Let me tell you, Corn, you can go 1 and 7 all game long, but as soon as you turn up at the end, that's what counts. All you need is that W. It does not matter what score it is. Now Illini on map point. I mean, round 11 on kickoff day, man, that would be something else. You know, that would be the gas for CCL right away. Illini back on attack, bomb in hand of Axie. Shields setting up to watch out for this aggression, but not given anything from the side of ASU. Very passive kind of default hold on the B side. Nade's going to lock on to Coders. Ghosty, incredible Kobe for the opening, for the first blood in favor of Illini. Now they're going to back these players off the site and try to take control of the spacing for B.
Now, they gave up garage control completely right there, and that was thanks to player Itachi backing all the way off. I get he was weak, but they still needed control, and they still need to have a little bit of maintaining across progress there, but he's able to find one. Now, trades won't be able to be there because players are too spread out across the map and not able to challenge. Maybe in a bit of aggressive push there through top piano. However, it's really unforeseen. You can't really predict that, especially since you don't know the opportunity for the players to rotate back over towards A. Player number 4 now through top piano, looking to potentially find a couple of players on the bomb. He knows that the bomb goes down, finds the kill there onto Xe. Ghosty playing over towards that hop-up. Player number 3 might be able to pinch through middle map over that hop-up wall, but no, decides to go into piano. Now Ghosty's going to be able to find the shots, hops back over the wall. 1 versus 1, 30 seconds left. Player number 3 either needs to find the defuse or go for this kill, and it looks like he's going to be trying to find the kill first. However, back up the staircase, the 1 versus 1. Oh! Oh no! Get out of here! Get out of town! Shut it off! Shut the stream off!
That was off script, man.
To win the S&D! Shut it off!
There's a reason you talked about Ghosty after game 1. That was the reason. Something turned in his head. He turned on the gears. He came alive at the end of that one-on-one. You know, having Ghosty there, Illini just, they must have felt, they're like, okay, you know, just let him do his thing. Just let him take care of this. Ghosty's got it. It doesn't even matter. We didn't get the round 11 like we wanted, McCorn, but at the end of it, an exciting search and destroy nonetheless from both of these teams. I mean, we were about 2 rounds away from having a war between ASU and Illini, but Illini now on match point.
I mean, if right there at the end, if that's any time to go ahead and find your team with an opportunity to potentially go and maybe be tied up 1-1, sure, but you've got to win those. You read it right, you read them like a book, and unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get those shots with the Krig, and that just goes to show why the 74U is just so good up close, and it's an SMG, so obviously and naturally it's going to be good up close, but I'm surprised neither player opted to go for a potential shot punch there. The reaction time, though, clearly for Ghosty as he wins that 1 versus 1. I mean, Seymour, as we now talk about map number 3, it could have been 1-1, but with a 6-4 victory in the search and destroy and a very unfortunate ending to that map, you've got to be kicking yourself in the back of the heels now and say, all right, we've got to clutch up here. We've got to win 3 maps in a row, or else we're at risk of losing this tournament. And folks, if you weren't here for the earlier part of the show where we were talking about how this is set up, best of 5s all the way out through the rest of this. It's single elimination. We're in quarterfinals here. We'll have one more match here on the Bravo stream, which will be the semifinal after the fact. Obviously, we don't know which 2 teams will be playing in it, but we do know that we will be bringing you the action here on the Bravo stream. My name is McCormiel. That's Seymour, and well, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the stream thus far. I know we have with some of the maps that we have just been able to be blessed with when all is said and done. But Garrison Control, what are we looking for here, Seymour?
Well, let me just start off by saying, I asked you before this, you know, why the XM4 over the Krig? That right there. Put that right there. That clip right there. Like it's just so unfortunate the 74U, but we're talking control here for Garrison, the love child of search and destroy of Hardpoint, the return from Black Ops 4. It's changed up from 5v5 to 4v4, a little bit up in the air of how the community feels about it. You know, there's some people who like it, some people who absolutely hate it, but nonetheless, it's what we're given and it's what we're playing in Cold War. So we're looking at Garrison to kind of be that lockdown for defense. It's definitely a more defensive side of map than attackers, as most control maps are. Yeah. But I mean, you look at Checkmate, you look at Raid, two maps for control that you have a really strong chance on attack to take. But Garrison's a little bit different. I mean, you really have to look towards green control on your attack, because that green control is going to stem either through some kills on radar, some kills on B. It's really going to decide on which route you want to take right away, and that green control is literally going to be everything. We saw it in the hard point that the top green was impossible to break into radar for that point 2 hard point. And control is a little bit different. I mean, I've seen teams, you know, hit through green at the same time that they're locking through square at the same time to try to get into breaks, and it causes a really good crossfire and a really good shakeup from the defenders to try to break into that. So I really, if you're on attack, you really need your guns to be hot here. Absolutely. That's all I really have to say.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it again. You know, Garrison as a map, you know, you either love it or you hate it. I'm kind of in the middle there. Specifically for Hardpoint and Control, I think Garrison is a great map. For Search and Destroy, on the other hand, I don't think it allows for enough player control and player movement around the map. It's kind of just a sit and wait party until you get that first pick, and I don't think it provides extremely great gameplay. However, I'm not nagging or ragging on the map whatsoever. I think it's a great design map for what it's intended for in Hardpoint and Control. Just for Search and Destroy, I think we could maybe, you know, when Express does come through, if it is the map that everybody loves, you know, maybe replace it with a map like Garrison is. Miami has kind of been a map to where, you know, it's grown on me over the course of the year. But as we get here into the control, folks, ladies and gentlemen, Illini Orange, an opportunity to go ahead and find themselves in the semifinals with a win here on Garrison. They did it in map number 1. Can they do it again here in map number 3?
ASU's on the brink of elimination here for the kickoff, and they're starting on defense, so they should, you know, on paper have the better start to this. But you look at this attack, the setup from Illini, Ghosty trying to work the magic in elbow. So he does. They're gonna have a double cap as well as a control. This is absolutely abysmal for ASU Maroon. This is the best start that you could ask for on attack. You have 2 minutes and 6 seconds just to get 2 more ticks on A.
Yeah, well, that was fast. I don't think I've seen the B zone and a tick at A been controlled so fast by a team inside of control this year whatsoever on Garrison. However, they do it here, and they come out starting strong. And this is exactly what you need if you're on the side of ASU Maroon, for the sheer fact that, all right, well, excuse me, this is Illini Orange that we're talking about. I apologize. Illini Orange. They get it done once again, and well, there's no surprises there. I was gonna say, you know, this is an opportunity maybe to come out and really show your prowess here in the control and show that you're ready to stay ahead in this series. Cool. But yeah, no, it's a bloodbath thus far.
Look, you talked about Shields being a little bit slow in that search and destroy. 5 and 3 right now, and definitely not holding back in control. 3 players, all 4 players on A. The contestant comes through, but the cap is even faster.
Jesus.
Illini Orange absolutely slay Arizona State University in this first round of control, and that right there is a testament of this Illini squad on the respawns. That right there is a statement for the teams to look at this squadron of players for Cold War. Ghosty is 7 and 1 right now on a 3-3.
Yep.
And he is not stopping through every single map. He's been on fire.
I was going to say, this guy is built completely different. There's no other way around it. But if you look at the map setup and you look at the gun setup for the side of Illini Orange, 3 SMGs here on Garrison with 1 M4. And then on the side of ASU Maroon, they've got 1 Krig, 1 M4, and then, of course, the 2 SMG setup. Ghosty underneath, continuous streak up to 4. He's got 8 in this game thus far with 8 OBJ kills as well. Slides under the vent, almost is able to take out Effectini. But 2 kills do go in their favors by the way of SMG and Krig. So that'll allow them to get a little bit of possession here up in towards B. A player in towards Lights is going to get shot in the back, and this could allow for an extremely nice pinch play, an opportunity. However, with Itachi finding 2 and his teammate Encoders finding 1 from behind, they're going to be able to go ahead, find themselves up onto this B point, and a great start here on the offensive side for them as they have now progress at A and almost progress at B as well.
Well, you look at the difference, though, in Illini's defense compared to it. They hit that pinch. They made sure they cleared that player out of elbow as fast as possible just to hit that contention a little bit easier on the B side of the map. And yeah, you gave up the take on either side, but you're able to set up your line of scrimmage now. Your front line, Ghosty and Shields on fire with the 74 U's. We are going to hop on and stay aboard with Ghosty to try and watch what he can do. Now they're pushing the floating tank. They're pushing the spawns. They're trying to set up this spawn trap potentially for the side of ASU. Ghosty definitely alive and not a ghost here, as these players are having trouble just getting past him.
It's too easy for him. His teammate comes through, cleans up the kill inside of Dark, still on another 4 streak, so that's 3 times this game where he's been on streaks of multiple of 5, so every single time he's been alive, he's been at least on a 5 streak. And now as he goes ahead and pushes through the vents up into Dark, his teammates have already pushed up the map in a good enough angle to where they have an opportunity to pinch everybody from the side of ASU Maroon into the back spawns, into the back spawn trap. So as Ghosty comes through, hip fires, shots come through, as well as the pre-fire all the way around to the corners. And somehow Ghosty is able to get another one as well. So continues the streak on to 7. Now finally will fall over towards Tool side by caution. But this dude is shooting nukes out of his weapon here on Garrison. Not even the SAM turret can stop him.
This guy, Ghosty, was literally spawned on a different plane, let alone built differently. You're going to see a one-on-one go to Shields inside green. They're breaking through this attack from ASU Maroon. You're down to 4 respawns compared to 10 and only 10 seconds to cap a point. This is not looking good for ASU. Really looking like a strong 2-0 start to this control for Illini. Itachi breaks into the elbow. 6 seconds left. He's going to stop the clock. Ixie and Ghosty combined for 2, though. 2 players back on the respawn. You only have 1 in the tank for the respawns of ASU. Itachi! What a crazy double kill. Trying to make it 3. Swaps to the head. Lethal. Not going to let it out in time. Crit. Puts them on the respawn. ASU go down by 2. Illini are on fire, man.
They are. And it was a valiant effort here by Tachichi as he was able to find about 3 kills in the span of about 5 seconds over towards his B zone. I thought potentially he might be able to stay alive, but Crit retaliates with a 3-piece of his own, spawns everybody from the side of ASU Maroon all the way across the map back in towards their spawn. Just no time remaining. And folks, if you're wondering how Control is played, or if you haven't really paid attention to any of how Control is played either in BO4 or this game this year, replacing domination from Modern Warfare, this game basically it consists of being the first team to get to 3 rounds, and every time you capture a zone, an extra minute is added onto the clock. So for example, on the offensive side here, if the side of Illini, Orange is able to go ahead and cap either A or B, they'll add an extra minute onto the clock, but if they don't capture either of the zones, the clock will obviously tick down to 0. And with Itachichi starting to heat up in this map at 11-11, 2 streak after a 4 streak from the last round, potentially an opportunity for them to go ahead and find a little bit of life in this map number 3.
Well, you had to go clear out Ghosty. That's what you wanted. But on the opposite side, Shields cleared Itachichi out of their spawn. So just getting rid of those aggressive players on either end. Back to a stalemate at the half. Ghosty's 20-6, Corn. And Crit himself, I mean, he's low in the deaths as well. 12-7, running that AR. You see trades back and forth from either team. Astrozy with this Craig pushing the spawns of Illini. This is what I like to see from ASU. I mean, going down by 2, being this aggressive, this is what you need just to bring yourself back. This is a strong defense at the start of this round.
You know, let me point out something real quick to everybody that's watching, especially to the people that are fans of the Illini Orange roster and just fans of Call of Duty in general. 20-7 from Ghosty. Obviously, we pointed it out beforehand, but look at the objective plays for Ghosty. 20. Not all of his 20 kills have obviously come from the objective, but playing the objective, being around the objective with that 74U is so important to allowing your team to win. However, when you've got the side of ASU Maroon starting to pop off and turn up just a tad bit here, that's going to allow them to go ahead, tick more time off the clock with just about 20 seconds left. Now over towards B, a huge one-on-one gunfight. Coders will win, and now Ghosty, well, let's see if he can break in through here. Well, gets that first kill, not really unanticipated. In fact, Teeny gonna get the long shots there, so a couple of players from the side of Illini Orange have found some kills, but really the life for ASU Maroon has been shown out here. Obviously, the lives are basically 1-1 here right now, but basically all they need to do is hold down B, make sure they can't get this progress, and get themselves at least 1 round here to potentially try to tie it up 2-2.
Honestly, if I was ASU, I wouldn't even mind giving up B and just locking down the A side of the map, because you're giving up a lot of kills just to stop this progression. Axie with a brilliant double kill. Make it 3 with Astrozy, but shut down with that Craig. Astrozy is finally heating up. 13-17 for himself. Mid-game's looking good. Minute and 3 seconds. 3 respawns to 6, Corn. And Shield, he's in the mid-map. Opportunity to sneak past a few. See 1-for-1 trade. Shield's good for one of his own. You're down to 1 if you are ASU. Now really backed up against the wall. Passes right through Shields. Not even going to check his corners. That's rule 1 of Call of Duty, my friend. And Shields is really putting them on a nose. Respawns. 2 players left for the side of ASU Maroon. That's Astrozy and Coders backed all the way up. You're not even going for percentage. Oh, you finally are hopping onto the progression. If you are Illini, Axie finds 1. Last player's Astrozy in this AR. He's cleaned up. That's going to be a hot 3-0 to start this Bravo stream in favor of Illini Orange.
In those situations where you've got like what basically an 8 versus 2, I love the play that they made. They said 1 straggler to the spawns to look for the players who could potentially be flanking. Then you have to have 1 player that's going to be going over towards A because they've got 3 on the point, progressing extremely quickly, and it just allows for everybody to kind of meet up at 1 central point over towards that brick side. They win the map, they win the series, and they go on to our semifinals. A hot 3-0 as Seymour had presented it to you as, and that is going to put them, as I said beforehand, in the semifinals of the 2021 CCL kickoff tournament. It's Syllabus Day, ladies and gentlemen, and we are just heating up. 1 more match here on the Bravo stream will be, of course, our semifinal, and then for the grand finals and the conclusion of the other semifinals, Visions Improper are over on our Alpha stream as well. But folks, again, don't go anywhere from this stream because we've got 1 more match coming up to you very soon after the fact. Obviously, we don't know the teams just yet that are going to be playing on, but we do know that Illini Orange with a hot 3-0 are going to be moving on, folks. Like I said beforehand, don't go anywhere. We'll be back here for the CCL 2021 kickoff stream in just a few short moments.